moving on to something a lot less controversial. My number 5, The Village. The movie starts off really, really good, and the first 3/4 of the movie are fantastic, or maybe the first half of the movie is fantastic. It builds a lot of great tension. It keeps a lot of mystery. You're wondering what's happening, what's really going on, what are these creatures, what's with this community, what's with the colors and everything. And I'm one of those people where the twist almost ruins the entire movie for me. It feels like M. Night Shyamalan had a great idea for a movie, and he said, hey, I got this great concept of these people that live in this village, and these monsters are out there, and they won't let them enter into the woods. And then he said, I got this great idea for a twist in the movie. And then he didn't know where to go from there. The movie loses all tension for the second half of the movie. It stops becoming a thriller, which that was the main thing going for, is that it was a really effective thriller with some great mysteries. And halfway through, the mysteries are revealed, and all the tension is gone. And that could have been fine if the movie redeemed itself with a really great ending, but it didn't for me. And the way the movie ends is just kind of a letdown, and it seems to affirm character decisions that I was like, no, you guys are just being stupid now. There are some really great things about this movie, and it has potential to be one of, if not his best movie, because it's a fantastic setup. There's enough going for it that it's in the middle of the pack for me, and it's worth watching. It's worth checking out.
Number 5 is Signs. And I have a hard time saying anything bad about this movie. I really do. I think it's a good movie. It's suspenseful. It's scary. I get what people, I do get some of the criticisms about it. People saying like, oh, the aliens came to a planet that was covered in water. Why did they do that? What would happen if it rained? The war would be over. I kind of get those criticisms, and maybe that's why it ended up as number 5 and not higher, but there's all kinds of alien movies where they have stupid weaknesses, so...
Have you ever read War of the Worlds? They're killed off by the common cold.
It's a good movie. I don't really have anything negative to say about Signs.
Number 4 on my list is The Visit.
Woo!
It's not his best film by any means, but he's doing something very different, where he's doing kind of a horror comedy thing along the same lines as Sam Raimi. And in a way, this movie feels kind of like a Sam Raimi movie at moments, while still being very much a Shyamalan movie. He uses these quirky character traits that every character has in a Shyamalan movie, but he's kind of poking fun of them at the same time. That the kid is this obnoxious rapper, and the girl is this auteur filmmaker. M. Night really is poking fun at himself and the way that he does this stuff in his movies, and he's kind of recognized the complaints people have had about them. At the same time, it is quite an effective little thriller. Or it's closer to a horror movie, actually. It's got some genuinely frightening moments. It's not like a terrifying movie or anything like that, but it's got some effective scares in it. It's just kind of a fun, spooky movie to watch with a bunch of friends and have a good time. And I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. This movie is a very Joe movie. like I love stuff like Cabin in the Woods and Evil Dead 2 and all that kind of stuff. And this one is along that same line of those kinds of movies.
Number 4 is The Village. And I know you have problems with this movie, but I love this movie. I love the character of Ivy. She is such a strong character. She's so brave. She's fun, she's quirky, but she's so vulnerable. And what I love about this movie is the fact that this woman who is blind is the only one brave enough to take on these monsters. And I think that's phenomenal. And she does it for love. It's sort of like a reverse damsel in distress kind of movie, which we don't see a lot of, and we don't see a lot of in this way. I think typically when filmmakers try to make the strong female character, what they do is they take some woman and they slap her in a metal bikini and they have her like ninja fight people. It's not relatable. You know, most women don't have ninja skills. And in most circumstances, the average man is stronger than the average woman. It's just a physical trait, it's the way things are. But the strength I'm looking for in the strong female character is courage, is intelligence, is love. Those are the things I'm looking for in a strong female character, and I think that Ivy has all of those traits. I think that it's maybe her tenderness that makes her so strong. Not only does she love Noah, she's always playing with Noah. She loves Lucius. And it's that love that leads her on this journey. James Newton Howard's soundtrack is amazing.
By the
in this
way,
movie.
as an aside, James Newton Howard does the score to all of Shyamalan's films, I believe, except for The Visit, which doesn't have a soundtrack. And no matter what you have to say about these movies, his soundtracks for these movies are phenomenal. My number 3 is Unbreakable. It's a very interesting, dramatic take on a genre that's typically action-centric and, aimed at adolescent boys, which is the superhero genre. It captures your attention. It's very tense because there's so much more at stake because these characters feel like real people because they are real people. Mm-hmm. There's a scene where his kid, this is a fantastic scene in the movie. His kid thinks that he's invulnerable, and it's kind of up in the air of how invulnerable Bruce Willis actually is in this movie. And the kid is holding a gun on him because he wants to prove to him that he's a Superman, essentially. And that scene is so tense. Even watching it this time, even though I'd seen the film before, I was on the edge of my seat like, oh my gosh. The movie is full of little moments like that. And it's the little moments that really make this film its own movie. Awesome movie. Everyone should watch it.
I think that my number 3 is The Visit. Normally, found footage movies come across to me as lazy filmmaking. I'm okay with thrillers, but I don't like horror movies. I feel like evil wins out in the end. The message is very dark, is very negative, is not very, it's not a healthy message to be eating all the time. Whereas this movie had 2 great things that sort of redeemed that. Number 1, while it was a found footage movie, you could tell that it was in the hands of professionals. Like, this was a movie, the way they used the found footage was very clever. The shots were very well set up. So while it was made, like, the girl was a film student and she was trying to make this movie, you knew there was a real professional behind the camera. And the other reason was because it had a redeeming ending. Without giving away anything, the ending for this movie was very redeeming. I think for genre, the found footage element of it made it scarier. I laughed a lot, I screamed a lot. It's a great movie, go see it.
My number 2 film is Signs. I was still a kid when this movie came out. It came out in 2002. I would have been 11 years old. It kind of blew me away at that age because I didn't grow up watching horror movies or very many thrillers or anything like that. And along comes this little alien movie, and it genuinely frightened me. I had never seen anything like it before at the time. It will always hold a special place in my heart because it was one of those movies that I'll never forget the first time I watched that movie. And watching it now, knowing the stigma of M. Night Shyamalan and who he is, I could see the seeds of the problems of his future movies in this one. The characters, again, they had those weird little quirks that became huge issues in The Happening. They are still people in their own. It's a little contrived the way that, the girl has water all over the place and the mom says swing away and all that kind of stuff. Oh, what do you know, it all comes together at the end there. Yeah, it's a little contrived, it's a little convenient. I didn't mind because the way he builds up to it and the way he brings them all together is just such an emotionally riveting experience. You may have seen the big picture all along, but now I'm finally putting it all together here. The movie is well made enough, and there's so much good in there that I can look past some of the smaller nitpicky things, and even those things I'm just kind of like, they're not necessarily plot holes, they're just things where you're not given all the information. You're given all the information, the only information you're given is what the characters have. I wouldn't even say it's a movie about a dad finding his faith like everyone says it is. I say it's a movie about a family coming together after a tragedy and learning to work with each other and see the good in each other. Mm-hmm. And if that's what the movie is about, I don't want them to devote half an hour of the movie explaining why the aliens did this, why this is happening, why can't they get out of pantry doors. It doesn't matter. That's not what the movie's about. And to be fair, if you had a problem with those things in science, that's fine. I recognize there are problems in the movie.
My number 2 was Unbreakable. There is so much subtle setup in this movie, and I think the whole idea that superheroes that we see in like Marvel, DC are exaggerated versions of people that really exist, that's something really cool, and I never really thought about that. That's a really cool premise. It's a really cool setup, and I also like the fact that it's about a family getting back together, and it's just a really clever premise executed in a really clever way. So that's why it's so high on my list.
And now it's time for our number 1.
Never saw this one coming.
Our number 1 movie is The Sixth Sense. The setup and payoff, it is a little bit gimmicky, but it works really, really, really well. And it's one of the reasons why this movie is so rewatchable is because if you watch it without knowing the twist, it hopefully will be like, oh my gosh! But then you can watch the movie over and over again because this world he has created is so well made. And these characters you go along with Haley Joel Osment, you really feel for this kid, and before you know his secret, you want to know more about him. You want to reach out to him and give him a hug. The whole movie is about communication and what happens if you just kind of let things go and bury them deep within you, and you don't talk about what's bothering you, and about how whole lives are torn apart by people just not communicating with each other. And it's an amazing movie. I love The Sixth Sense.
Haley Joel Osment's acting in this movie was probably the best child actor I've ever seen. Maybe one of the best actor. I'm gonna take the child off that. His acting was incredible. And I'm trying to figure out, like, how do you get a child to do that kind of performance? You know, a lot of times in movies it's the kids versus the parents kind of thing. You know, the parents are really dumb or they don't believe the kids. And here we just have this beautiful reconciliation that really shows the power of that kind of relationship. It's clearly his best. There's like no other movie even comes close. He has some other good movies, but
however, it has the second best Haley Joel Osment performance. The first best being in Kevin Smith's Tusk. So Oscar worthy. So that was our ranking of M. Night Shyamalan's films. What do you guys think? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Do you want to yell at us and scream at how terrible we are for liking The Last Airbender a little bit? Kind of, or not hating it as much as everyone else. I didn't really care for that movie, but still. Anyway, tell us why we're wrong in the comments.
You could also tell us why we're right if you agree with us, Joe. Why do you have to be so negative?
Give us as many thumbs downs as you can, because it still means you watched the video. We still got those views.
Suckers!
Anyway, also let us know if you want more videos like this. We could do plenty more. We could do another ranking video in the future. Maybe we'll do a video just talking about our favorite movies in a certain genre. Halloween's coming up in a little over a month. If you want to see us talk about our favorite Halloween films, let us know. If you don't, we may do it anyways. Maybe we won't. Who knows? And stay tuned. We have more Cinemadrome coming up in the weeks in between these. And happy Thanksgiving, everyone.